Christian McCaffrey, Calvin Ridley, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. What is going on with modern football card investing? Stick around. Let's talk about this. Hello to all my sports card collector, investor, all my collectibles friends out there in the universe. How the heck is everybody doing? I hope everyone is having a great week so far. We are at Wednesday. We are at Hump Day. Tonight we have Off-Centered with a mystery guest. Me and Brad, the Comeback Card Investor, will be on my channel tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. We will have a guest on. I'm excited about it. Subtle hint, he has been on our show before, or Brad's show, or one. He's been on our shows. Yes, he definitely has. But yeah, he's awesome. So I'm looking forward to having him back on. It's going to be a good time. Okay, guys, today we are going to talk about the perils of investing in modern football cards. And this season has been a doozy for anyone that's been buying into kind of the main players, the players that are playing today, not necessarily the vintage guys that are all done playing, hanging them up, but we are looking at just the guys that are playing today. And man, it has been a weird landscape for football cards. We're going to take a look at some different players, some pricing, some changes in pricing. And I want to get your take on this too. How has this affected your strategy with football cards, with modern football cards? Or have you not really been involved in this and not really been paying much attention? Because I thought that this was kind of interesting, just looking at some data around it. Not even just football cards, but my fantasy team has been absolutely demolished. To give you an idea of what my fantasy team looked like, Russell Wilson was my starting quarterback, hurt. Christian McCaffrey, starting running back, hurt. I had Jameis Winston as my backup quarterback. He's hurt. Calvin Ridley was a receiver. He's taking the rest of the year off for mental health. Michael Thomas, another receiver. He's out for the rest of the year with an ankle that just continues on forever. So yeah, my fantasy football team has not been looking strong, and I'm trying to pick people up off of waivers. It's not easy. It's basically the worst fantasy lineup I've ever drafted. Just the most unlucky draft ever. Let's start off with arguably the hottest player outside of Tom Brady in the NFL right now, young player. It's Patrick Mahomes. This is the most obvious one. Patrick Mahomes coming into this year was nothing but lights out. He's been nothing but lights out since he really started in the league. If you remember, he did not start his rookie season. He sat out behind Alex Smith, sat behind him to kind of learn, take it all in, etc. But ever since he has been a starting quarterback in the NFL, he has really been lighting it up in KC. This is nothing new to anyone. And so that's what's so weird about this time right now. And it's not as if Kansas City is an awful, awful team, but they just can't put it together. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't watch all the Kansas City Chiefs games, so I'm sure if you're a diehard Chiefs fan, you can probably point to different things. Maybe there's some line issues, some receiver issues. You know, defensively, I know that they've been struggling. They didn't have Chris Jones, their top defensive end, top defensive player for a bit. I don't know if he's back in. I don't know if that is what's been going on. They just haven't looked like the typical Chiefs that just light up the scoreboard. It's usually Tyreek Hill going for 80 yards on whether it be an end around or a 50-yard pass downfield. Tyreek Hill is electric. Travis Kelce as well. That combination has been deadly for the Chiefs, and it just hasn't been there. And Pat Mahomes, I've heard some like different things about him. Have defenses have figured him out? Are they too reliant on the big play? There's so many different kind of question marks. Is he's hampered by injury, and maybe we're not really hearing enough about it because he doesn't want to complain about it. You know, it's interesting. I mean, there's all sorts of different looks at it, and his football cards have suffered. Now let's back it up a little bit. His cards went absolutely parabolic in price over the last 18 months, and I mean, like way, way high. I mean, him and Luka Doncic have really been the two up-and-coming players in their respective sports where their sports card prices went bananas. If we're looking at fall of 2019 compared to fall of 2021, you're talking about many, many multiples of where their pricing was. So some could argue a correction was necessary anyway for Patrick Mahomes. And so, yes, his cards are down, but they went up so much. It just felt like it was kind of due. And a lot of people kind of have the feeling, and I've heard this from viewership as well, is that his pricing has already got him, baked in 3 titles and MVP awards and everything. It's already baked in kind of a Hall of Fame, but not even just a Hall of Fame career, but like an all-time great career, where his pricing is. I mean, it's wild. It's up there. And I think it's just a combination of him being a great player coupled with the last 2 years being the sports card explosion. And Patrick Mahomes has just been kind of like riding that wave up. He was just kind of the one that was here for it, that rookie that was here. If it was 1984 and it was Dan Marino and John Elway, it would probably be the same story. If you had the same sort of card boom that we've seen the last 2 years, probably seeing Dan Marino stuff absolutely bananas and John Elway. So, but we're going to look at some of his stuff. If we look at market movers, and they're tracking for Patrick Mahomes over the last 7 days, he is showing a 3% drop overall. We're kind of looking at an index. So the thing with data tools is they give you a snapshot, they give you a guide, but it's not going to take into account every single card, every single different type of grade of that card. And so, but it does give us a snapshot. It is pulling a lot of data and compiling it. It's not a perfect science. Obviously, it's not taking into account a lot of the card show sales, the private sales from different platforms. There's so many different platforms to buy and sell on that none of the data tools are pulling everything. It's impossible, the face-to-face sales, but it does give us kind of a guide. It gives us something to go off of. And so Pat Mahomes over the last 7 days, only down about 3% overall, according to market movers. Over 90 days, though, 90 days kind of going back before the season started, it's down 23%. And they're looking at 612 different cards tracked on market movers. Now, that's not 612 different cards, but it's cards in different grades. So it might be the Prism rookie card for Mahomes in a PSA 10, the PSA 9, PSA 8. Those are all counted as different cards in the tool, even though it's the same card, just different grades. So you get the idea. But the point is, it's covering a lot of ground with 612 different examples of rookie cards. And so Patrick Mahomes down 27% over the last 90 days. Christian McCaffrey, another guy. He is, obviously I think that people are frustrated that collect his cards because he's arguably the best running back outside of Alvin Kamara with the New Orleans Saints. But he's arguably the best all-purpose running back in the NFL. His card prices over the last 7 days also down 3%, and over the last 90 days down 23%, with 93 cards, different variations of card being tracked in market movers. Aaron Rodgers, who just recently has been facing kind of a little bit of some scandal with whether he's been immunized or not immunized or whatever. Everyone's opinion is their own opinion, whatever. But the point is that up until the last few days of Aaron Rodgers stuff, his cards, his season has been pretty good. 17 touchdown passes with 3 interceptions. 2 of the 3 interceptions coming against the Saints, my Saints, in week 1. But look, this guy's been playing basically lights out since week 1, and his team is 7-2. They were 7-1 before he missed this last game against the Chiefs, where the Chiefs just kind of sneaked by the Packers. You could probably make the assumption that if they had Rodgers, that would have been a different game. And so that's what's kind of interesting about this is Rodgers really hasn't had a whole lot of movement with his cards over the last 7 days. Over the last 90 days, he's minus 1% overall, with 147 different type variations of card and market movers. So he's down 1%, and this guy has really been playing excellent football. He's been playing Aaron Rodgers football, again, outside of that week 1 against the Saints, where the dominant Saints just kind of took control. I'm biased. I've got to throw my stuff in, guys, as a diehard New Orleans Saints fan. But in all seriousness, Rodgers really hasn't had a whole lot of movement at all, and this is a player that has been playing very well. He is a future Hall of Fame quarterback, so you would think that if anyone's pricing would be moving up from the season, it would be a guy like Rodgers. Speaking of the Saints, let's talk about some Saints. Michael Thomas, it's just killing me. I haven't seen him play. We need receivers so badly that it looks like we're trying really hard to get Odell Beckham Jr., which I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not crazy about bringing him on. At the same time, we have no one on the team that can catch the ball. Michael Thomas's stuff, really no movement over the last 7 days, and over the last 90 days, minus 23% overall with the cards that are being tracked in Card Ladder. Not really much of a surprise. There's nothing to talk about with him. We don't even know if the guy's going to come back and play at any sort of kind of a level that would be, where he was before. I assume that he will. I think that he actually will come back and play well in the future, but when is that going to be? No one one really knows. Alvin Kamara, a Saint that has been playing very well. The cards that are being tracked in Market Movers were at negative 1% change over the last 7 days in price and negative 19% over the last 90 days. And again, this is a guy that's playing well. He's scoring touchdowns. He's getting his yards. Alvin Kamara is doing Alvin Kamara things, and his cards are really going nowhere. Now, is it kind of like this mid-season slump that we kind of see anyway in the NFL? Or is it something bigger than that? I don't know. There's just so many different kind of injuries to key players that it's been wild. So who has been going up over the last 7 days? If we're looking at Market Movers, the one thing to keep in mind too, when you're looking at data tools and movement of cards is, for example, Market Movers has Mike Williams up like 300%. And you're like, oh my gosh, Mike Williams is up 300%. This is the receiver. But it's just because of a few transactions. He had a card go from $12 to $55 recently. A couple of outlier type sales can make it look like a card is going bonkers in the data tool when really it was just a couple of sales. It wasn't as if there was 50 cards transacted, through there, and that's where we're seeing like a 200% jump or 50% jump or whatever. So even the cards that are up or down, take it with a grain of salt. Again, these are a guide. These are kind of to help you dig in further. But we're seeing other guys like Ryan Tannehill is showing a 60% gain. Marcus Allen, Eli Manning, Antonio Brown, Eric Dickerson, Steve Largent, Thurman Thomas. The majority of the guys that have really seen kind of a little bit of a bump up are guys that are no longer playing. Hall of Fame players. Again, we're not talking about a lot of transactions here, but I just thought that was kind of interesting because outside of Antonio Brown and Ryan Tannehill and then that Mike Williams jump, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of up, on the charts for football. So guys, what do you think about football cards? Do you buy, sell modern football? Here's the thing. Football cards were my first love going back to 89 Pro Set, 89 Score football. That's when I first started to collect. I love football cards. I have moved more towards the retired Hall of Famers, the vintage stuff, the autos of kind of those big time, long time Hall of Fame type players in football. But I also respect kind of that prospecting game in football cards, but man, it's just so difficult nowadays to do it. I feel like when I'm looking at the market, kind of how it sits right this second. Now, again, is it just midseason football kind of slump time? Or, is this just kind of what it is? Let me know, guys. Let me know kind of what you're doing in football cards. You're not even messing with it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Stay healthy. Stay awesome. I will talk to you again later.